In this video, we'll show how Plant Pilot can be used in the construction phase to link your 3D design model with data that you may have in external data sources like Microsoft Access or Microsoft Excel. You may track things in those external sources such as your spool delivery status, your hydro test packages, turnover systems, progress, any of a number of different things that construction organizations often keep track of in external sources like Access or Excel. So let's take a look at that. Here you see Plant Pilot, and in the first example, let's assume that we have an Access database where we are tracking the delivery status for piping spools. Now, this data may ultimately reside in any number of different places, Oracle or SQL Server databases, or native in Access, or wherever you may store this kind of information. But Access can obviously be used to query any of a number of different data sources. So you can set those queries up in Access and then just simply link Plant Pilot to Access. So here in Plant Pilot, you'll see that we have created what's called an extended property in Plant Pilot. So it's called a delivery status. And what an extended property is it's a property that does not exist in the native Smart Plant Review model. So the engineering organization never entered this property for any items in the model, but using Plant Pilot, you're able to create this extended property and treat it as if it's a property of the model. So in this case, the property is called delivery status, and the setup says go look in this database, look in this table, and match the line name property in the model to the line number property in the Access table, and then return the delivery status property from that table, or it could be a query as well. So that's what the definition of this extended property looks like. And then here you see the Access database that has information in it, basically the delivery status for different spool or line numbers that you're tracking. So once we've done that in Plant Pilot, we can do a number of things. We can set up a folder that shows the different line numbers associated with the different statuses. Or we can have one folder that shows simply the different statuses. If you say highlight that, you can see in the model it will highlight the different statuses. And what Plant Pilot is doing is reading this information from that external Access database. So in here you've got the actual list of pipelines associated with each one of these statuses. So that helps you to find things in the model, or use the information in the Access database and display it in the model so you can visually quickly get a good visual indication of the different statuses. Now you can also, from that information, create what are called scenes in Plant Pilot. So here we have a scene called delivery status where we've set this up to color code our model based on the information that is coming from this Access database. And at any point in time, you can go in and say show this scene, and the model then will be color coded according to the definitions that you have set up in your scenes. And it's important to understand that this information, once it's set up the first time, is dynamic. So in other words, as the information in your data source, in this case Microsoft Access, as that information changes, once you've set this up in Plant Pilot, you never have to come back in and reconfigure that again. The information that's displayed in these folders will just be dynamically updated based on the contents of the Access database. And anytime you come in here and do the scene, show the scene, it'll be current and up to date. Now, if we look at the individual parts in a particular line here, we'll pick line CWS004 just by selecting the parts list command in Plant Pilot. That'll give us a list of all the parts. You can see here for each of these individual parts, we have a valve, a flange, 90-degree elbows. What I want to show here, though, is you can see that delivery status is one of the properties that is showing here. So as I said previously, even though delivery status is not a property of the model in any way, using the extended property feature in Plant Pilot, you're able to make it seem like it's a property of the individual objects in the model. So that's how the extended properties work. Now, a similar feature, but somewhat different, with an extended property, since it's treated as a property of the object, obviously an object can only have one value for a property. So, for instance, an item in the model can't have a delivery status of 30 days and 60 days. It can only have one or the other. But in some cases, you have a situation, I'm going to show you here, with systems, where an object could belong to one or more systems. So that's the systems functionality here in Plant Pilot. So you can see I've got a folder set up to show HydroTest systems, and as before, that information is coming from an Access database. In this case, it's a different Access database, but you have tables or queries in here in this Access database that define which HydroTest systems certain pipelines belong to. So, similar to the extended properties, this folder has all the definition that is required to tell Plant Pilot how to go into this Access database and figure out which system a given pipeline belongs to, HydroTest system. And so then Plant Pilot's able to build this folder. Now let me restore my model colors from before. And so I can highlight any of these systems, just like I did with the extended properties, or I can drill down into individual systems here to see the actual lines that are in those systems. Now, to illustrate what I was talking about, you can see in this system 101 here, we have pipeline CWS004, and if I go to system 102, I also have pipeline CWS004. Now that may not make sense. I have that set up that way for demonstration purposes, but just to show, like I said, that an item can belong to more than one system, which is where the subtle difference between systems and the extended properties comes in. So that's another example of how we link to external data in Microsoft Access and show that data in Plant Pilot, and then allow you to navigate to those items in the model very easily. Obviously, all of this information can be exported to Excel at any time that you want. So you have a quick report there of all the items in that system. The final example I was going to show is sometimes you have information in an Excel spreadsheet. That's very common to have Excel spreadsheets where you're tracking information. In this little simple example, we're tracking progress, design percent complete. this could be some sort of a construction progress or whatever. But for each line name, we're tracking a percent complete. And so in the again, in the Access database, let me see if I can find the right database here. You can see that we have created a linked table to that information in the spreadsheet. So this demonstrates what I was talking about previously. You can have information in many different sources. Use Access to link to it. It's very easy. Access has great tools for linking to data in any number of different sources. And then simply tie the Plant Pilot using extended properties or systems or some feature in Plant Pilot linked to that external data. So here, as we did before with the delivery status, we have a percent complete extended property that we've created. And so now, based on the information that ultimately resides in this Excel spreadsheet, we can have a list of pipelines that show for each line the percent complete. In this case, you see a folder called less than 50% complete. This is another feature of Plant Pilot where we said we want to get this information from this query. So we've got a query in that Access database that gives us all the percent complete less than 51, and we have simply told Plant Pilot to list all the items from that query in this folder, so you can see everything in this is a line that is less than 50% complete. And just like we did with the extended properties, then we can make a scene very easily. So let me fit the model here. And so I've created a scene, and I just say show refresh scene. And you quickly get a color-coded model that shows, in a great visual form that's easy to understand, your percent complete with the information coming ultimately from that Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So these are just some really simple examples of how you can link, using Plant Pilot, link your 3D model to these external data sources that are very commonly used at construction sites and in engineering offices. The Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel are very commonly used to store information about your design, about your construction. And hopefully this gives you a good idea how, with very little effort, you can link Plant Pilot to that information and then use Plant Pilot to display that in your model. Thanks for watching.